Okay. Hi everybody. And welcome to NUS NOI 2022. So this webinar will be about the metaverse, and I would like to invite C How for NUS to actually to teach us what is the metaverse on, and to and what the hype is on the metaverse, and how you can actually participate in the metaverse. So we will actually give you like a lot of experiences, or or key for viewing points into how the metaverse works. So yes, we without further ado, I would like say how to present. Thank you.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Sihao, and I'll be presenting on today's about the Metaverse workshop. So, first of all, I would like to invite everyone to use this Zoom registration link uh, to sign up. Yep. Then, if you miss this, you can always come back later to scan the QR code. But anyways, regarding today's content, we'll be going through quite a bit about the Metaverse. So, we'll introduce what the Metaverse is, give a brief history of how the Metaverse started to hype up recently. What's the point of having this Metaverse at all? Then we'll go on to discuss a bit of how NFTs and the Metaverse tie in together. And lastly, we'll talk about the risk and the future and visions of the Metaverse. So let us begin with what the Metaverse is. So let's go back a few years and understand where the NFT started. So a lot of you probably think that it's only started recently since the metaverse became the hype of many discussions. But when we actually think of the metaverse, we usually envision a virtual reality space through some form of VR glasses. So some of us see it as a place to hang out with other internet users. Some of us think of it as a place where we have our own digital space and so on. But the metaverse does not need to exist in such a manner. So although many of us haven't had a chance to experience like the VR metaverse and whatever, um, the idea of a metaverse has actually been in existence since a very, very long time ago. So, for example, many of us grew up playing Minecraft, and Minecraft servers can actually be considered something similar to a metaverse, although it's centralized. So, in the Minecraft servers, right, players can actually claim a piece of land on the server, build his or her own house, and have the house retained on the server after logging off. So the hype of the metaverse now is more of an extension to this idea of community, where bigger corporates are actually pushing to build more extensive versions of these digital spaces. If you actually do a simple Google search on what the metaverse is, it will tell you something that along the lines of it being an integrated network of 3D virtual worlds, or it is an idea that aims to be an extension of the real world, and it wants to be so immersive, right, that we can't actually tell the difference between the real world and the metaverse. And the thing is that the metaverse is an idea. There isn't one single metaverse. Rather, it is an open, digitally enhanced virtual space where users can work, play, socialize through their own personalized avatars. And the metaverse actually aims to make a shift in how we interact with technology, with using fields such as virtual reality, augmented reality technologies, head mounted displays, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and so on. And importantly, it is built on decentralized technology known as blockchains. So, what actually makes up the metaverse? When we think about the metaverse, it is actually a combination of these technologies, uh, and there are actually five key components to it. So first of all, we have, of course, we need some medium to connect with each other, which is in the form of in the internet, as well as blockchain technology. The blockchain technology form the important foundations to the ownership economy that will support the metaverse and make it a viable public good. And in order to communicate with each other, we of course need some form of standards of media. This is necessary to transfer things like images, videos, sounds, music, 3D objects of your NFTs of your character, and for example 3D shaders between the different users, and it's actually what allows us to see the same things in the same virtual space. Then of course we also need some programming language to translate these network packets of these uh, communication into actual things that can be rendered and displayed to the user. And lastly, uh, users also need to have an interface for the users. Users also need to have an interface to interact with, and this usually comes in the form of AR or VR technology that actually can display the standards of media that I've talked about just now. But this is not the same for every single metaverse. For example, for some you only need a screen and a computer, but for other more advanced ones, you actually need those VR and AR headsets. And then, of course, as any other blockchain technology, we need ledgers and some smart contract platforms as a supporting foundation. So, as I've mentioned just now, there are different types of metaverses. There, for example, on the left, we have this co-created metaverse where our users and brands generate content together. There's the fully experimental types of metaverse where only brands will generate content and users can get to experience them. And there's also customized platforms that are mixed of various different properties. So different metaverse cater to the different types of users and their requirements. Similarly, there are also different levels of immersivity. So for some, we only need to use our computers with a screen. For example, on the left, we have this web VR AR experiences that doesn't really require us to buy much products to actually experience them. But on the extreme right side, we have these immersive worlds that are extremely complicated with with the need for supporting equipment such as the Oculus Rift or newer VR headsets in order to experience them. So these different levels of immersivity will also cater to the different levels of needs of different users and different brands and companies that make up different parts of the metaverse. So now I'll pass on to Brian to have a demo for some of these metaverse implementations. Brian,
Yeah.
please.
Okay. Thank you, See how. So I will go through you with what how you actually experience the three different so-called the new things on the metaverse, which is Sandbox, Decentraland, and also for Gather Town. So it will give you like a pretty good idea how what how you actually see it as. So yeah, I'm gonna share screen now, and yeah, so I'm actually going through for Sandbox first. So what you can actually do here is that you can actually sign in with your MetaMask account, and to get access, you need to sign in with this. And then once you have signed in, you can actually look at the different things you actually can do on the Sandbox Metaverse. So the first one would actually to play. So this allows you to play play with events that are being hosted on the Sandbox Metaverse itself. You also have rewards where you will get like rewards like for tickets if you participate in the seasons that they have in the metaverse. So a lot of these are like send are the coins that you can stake and do a lot of other things with it lah. So and many more. And then of course you have the tickets where you can actually get an NFT by buying like it's for tickets and to level up. So these are examples of what the metaverse in Sandbox could be, where you also can do for contests to participate in contests and events. You can actually see here that once you participate, you can get some kind of big rewards that you can actually claim for something else. And then what's special about this is you have activities like like they that allows you to play on the metaverse on Sandbox itself, but you are also allowed to buy things or assets on Sandbox itself. So assets or on Sandbox on the NFT marketplace can be NFT on itself, NFT assets on itself, or land and estate or land on Sandbox itself where you can actually buy. So you can actually see here there are different collections that you can actually shop here, from famous artists like Snoop Dogg, or crypto exchanges like Binance, and many other more things on the marketplace. On top of that, you also can actually create your own game. Okay, I won't be showing you this, but I will be showing you another example how it will look like. So it will look very similar to this thing called the game maker afterwards. Yeah. And then if you go to the map, when I actually said that you can actually buy assets, you can actually buy your NFTs from the marketplace. This is actually the assets that you can actually see on Sandbox itself. So if I take a look at this whole piece of, I mean, like, it's a whole piece of land where different organizations or different entities are buying, or different people are buying land, and it gives you the kind of a good grasp of what kind of value it can actually cost. So if I actually take a look at just give me a while, it's still trying to load. So let's just say anyone on the internet can actually buy this land as long as they have like a cryptocurrencies like if. So if you see here, if I go to the white box, this would be this will be land that is actually on sale. So most of the boxes that you see here, you see like a picture on the boxes, and you see like a green part on things like that, right? It means that most of this land is really bought over, and the ones that are on sale is actually in white. And then you can actually see that there are different barriers. It's the companies from Adidas, from Ubisoft, which is the gaming companies, and many other like brands such as Warner Brothers Music and many other things, and most of the crypto coins around. So this whole land, it's what the community actually will value it at, which is uh it it, it really it depends on how it is valued at. So I will take you to the next part of the metaverse, or rather the next experience where you can actually interact with different objects and things like that in the metaverse itself. Just give me a while. I will just share screen. Yeah, so you can actually see here that this is Decentraland. Just give me a while again, because I think there's some issues. So you can actually see that this is the Decentraland. And this will actually give you a good experience how to actually how you want to build the metaverse in. So you can see that I just entered into the Decentraland metaverse, and that you can actually interact with different people for building a profile. You can see what they actually have collected, their passport, or you can text on them as well. And this and yeah, and this is how it's going to look like. You can actually change your own view and things like that. And then you also can you can move around, and also interact with all these events, these kind of events where you can participate in. There's a lot of other events, and also like brands here as well, like what kind of land you want to join inside. So there are other things that you can actually participate in this whole thing, this whole experience, where you are in charge of avatar that is actually is actually in this whole land. So it's like a virtual land that allows you to participate in many in like events sort of thing where you can actually interact with different people or different objects on the internet itself, which is what the metaverse is about. And then you can actually see that when I actually jump to a new piece of land, that it's always something different. So you can actually see here there's like this is a particular spot where it's like a person has created this whole land for you to interact with. You can interact with this chat, you can interact with this thing. You can see, oh, I'm true, and thanks for helping. So you can actually see all these kind of things that are being done on this Decentraland itself. You can interact and collect coins and things for rewards. So a lot of these are very interesting new concepts for just for one piece of land, which is like in this, like, it's a piece of land is more like an exhibition of what the users want to showcase, and that's very interesting because then in that sense it's a way of trying to promote yourself, and trying to allow your users to actually interact with different assets and different kind of objects that you want them to interact with. So yeah, so that's it's one good example of Decentraland. Yeah, I'm gonna close this first. Yeah. So then we can come over to the last one, which is actually is Gather Town. Just give me a moment. Okay, hi. Yeah, I'm back. So, this is a third example of how the metaverse can be. So, in one sense, you can actually we do have a exhibition in GeckoCon by Tezos. So we are one of the silver sponsors for this as well. And how we actually we actually collaborated with them give you like a metaverse like experience. Is that when you go into Gather Town, you can actually see that you can actually see that we can actually use this use this virtual conference to actually visit booths and do a lot of other things here. So this is one of the few examples that it kind of wants to replicate what you can see on the metaverse or feel on the metaverse itself. So yeah, so this is one of them. And yeah, I think overall, like it gives you a good gauge of of the different experiments that from Sandbox to Decentraland and Gathertown is trying to build up. So they are trying to build up like for different assets that their own kind of land, different assets, different collectibles, and different ways how the users can interact with with each other across like the whole space itself. Yeah. Yeah. So I would like to pass this back to see how. Thank you.
Let's give the dog a break. So yeah, now we'll be moving on to since we've already introduced what the metaverse is about, let's try to understand how it was suddenly hyped up in a few recent years. Given that it's the idea has been here for quite some time, but not many people have known about it for quite a good number of years. So the term metaverse actually first appeared in a sci-fi book called Snow Crash in 1992. And in more recent times, we've had movies based on similar ideas. For example, Ready Player One, and for the older generations, we have The Matrix. I know that The Matrix is from some time ago, but it is like this perfect embodiment of what a metaverse is envisioned to be. So for those who have never watched The Matrix, it basically is a series of movies that depicts this dystopian world where humans are trapped within a digital world, and they basically try to differentiate between the virtual world and the real one. So how the metaverse hyped up, right? The idea of metaverse, as we've seen, have been around for quite some time, but it isn't until that COVID struck that the metaverse has been more widely known to us. A lot of big companies have started to realize the opportunities that in these VR or AR spaces and what they can do for us. Especially during the lockdown times, we've had to work from home or study from home and attend meetings and lessons through Zoom or this current webinar. And even as we transition out of these lockdowns and COVID, most companies are still going to adopt a hybrid work arrangement, and this virtual space is still going to be as valuable as ever. So, but besides using it for just work, we as humans, we are naturally social animals. So I'm not sure if people are aware, but studies have shown that the depression rates in the US alone has went up about nearly 10 times in the past 2 years due to mainly the lack of social interaction. And nowadays we pay more attention to our social presence, like how well we look online, how many likes we get on our latest Instagram posts, and things like that. So this transition from a face-to-face interaction to an online social interaction is only going to speed up with the advance of technology. And together, because of all of these various reasons and various more that we're not going to mention, we can start to see how this metaverse fits into our needs perfectly. But of course, it's not going to exactly replace our lives completely, because we still need to eat and drink. But we can definitely see that the metaverse and this digital space is going to change our lives in the ways that we cannot yet imagine. So you may ask, what is the point um, of having this metaverse? Like you said so much about changing our lives and stuff. How exactly is it going to help us? The main aim of a metaverse and online digital social spaces is that it removes geographical and physical barriers. And so literally anyone with an account in the metaverse can attend any event from the comfort of their homes. And this is especially going to be convenient for people who are not so free to move around, as they can turn up for events that they will not be able to attend physically. So in the past, right, popular concerts have always had this history of accidents and sometimes even tragedies. And if you simply make a Google search on accidents at concerts, you will see like a whole list of these examples of people getting stampeded on and stuff. So participants at these events, right, they get high, and accidents such as stampedes occur. So with the metaverse, participants can actually immerse themselves in the digital world and have experiences similar to an actual physical event, but without the possibility of any of these tragedies occurring. Moreover, it allows us to socialize better, which also is an extension of this accessibility. Similarly, in gaming, like we can participate in virtual games and events to make friends or have fun and earn tradable goodies. So there's a game that's been popular for a few years called Fortnite, and I think in the last year or the year before, Travis Scott actually came forward to partner with Fortnite to host a concert, and through this single concert alone, he earned about 20 million USD for his performance, and it also helped Fortnite to gain around 12.3 million new players. Another field that the metaverse can help in is with simulations. So a lot of simulations can now be done and with demonstrations and without having the risk to harm yourself or others. and it can help allow us to visualize what is going on in these simulations and demonstrations in a more immersive manner, and help us better understand what is going on. And this is also the same with education. So I myself hated learning humanities subjects when I was younger, simply because reading those information from a book was just too boring. But imagine like secondary school or high school kids when they first learn history, and instead of reading about how the Soviets fought back against Nazi Germany invaders from a textbook, you can simply wear a headset and immerse yourself onto the battlefield and see the action in real time, and understand how the generals made decisions that led to a victory or a failure. So now let's move on to how the NFTs tie in with the metaverse. And just for a recap, NFTs are basically they represent ownership of digital assets that reside in a digital wallet. And these are some of the examples what NFTs can actually tokenize. So it can tokenize collectibles or even virtual land spaces, as Brian has demonstrated previously. And in the later sessions of the workshops, we'll also cover more use cases on NFTs, which will give a clearer understanding of the different types of applications that they can be used for. So in the metaverse, the NFTs can actually help to regulate the entering of locations and events. So it is something like an ID badge that you can tap into your office or something like that. They they have smart contract functionalities that help in selling real estate on the metaverse, and they introduce interoperability outside the metaverse with the infrastructure of supporting the features of location-based engagement and in augmented reality. And in fact, that's just for the general users. And the NFTs in the metaverse also have another different use case for bigger brands. So brands such as Nike, Adidas, Prada, and Gucci have actually ventured into NFTs in the metaverse. And in the recent few months, Nike has planned to release various sneakers tied to NFTs in the metaverse, meaning that if you buy this shoe in the real life, you can get the same pair of shoes as an NFT in the metaverse. So it's like a digital asset which your character in the metaverse can wear and show off when you walk around the metaverse universe. So although it is just a piece of digital asset, the fact that this NFT is one of a kind make it a worthy collectible. So onto the risks of the metaverse. Mainly, we are concerned with people are concerned with the privacy issues. So, for example, personal informations like biometrics that can be captured with more advanced VR headsets, and especially now when there are various metaverse implementations that are entity controlled, for example, by Meta and by Microsoft, I think. So these single organization controlled metaverse may face the same privacy leaks as traditional social media platforms. So, for example, a few years ago, Facebook had the Cambridge Analytica scandal of selling information, and if we if these entities continue to control the metaverses, then this privacy issue can still carry forward in many years to come. And furthermore, user safety is of another concern. So one of the aims of the metaverse is actually they hope that users think of the metaverse as an extension of our real world, and in many cases, people they will become addicted to the metaverse, and they, for example, can't differentiate between the real life and the metaverse itself. And of course, there's going to be things like cyberbullying, toxic comments to each other, exchange of like various harmful comments and stuff. And this definitely poses a risk to the mental well-being of those users who are too engrossed into the metaverse. So, and because privacy is one of the strengths. So, for example, nobody actually knows who you are, then it becomes that we actually cannot hold people liable for what they've done to others in the metaverse. So, with all of these risks, what do we envision the metaverse to be? Firstly, data continuity is one of the challenges that we are trying to solve. So this is one important property that we want to achieve with the metaverse. And it is actually a problem that arises from the fact that there are way too many various implementations of the metaverse existing at the same time. So what is data continuity exactly? And you can imagine yourself having the same character avatar that you can imagine yourself having some character that you created meticulously in the sandbox. And one day, for example, you decide to explore the Decentraland tool because it has some new features that you find fanciful. But you expect your avatar to be seamlessly copied over from one to the other, but without having to redo your entire character again. So this is the basics of data continuity. And it is what makes Metaverse so exciting, and it is what the users want to have when experiencing the Metaverse. Furthermore, there are various financial opportunities for creators and artists in the metaverse world. For example, digital assets and common currencies to make data continuity even more valuable. So in the future, some of these metaverses could be just one of the many decentralized worlds that make up a portion of the entire metaverse universe, with digital assets and currencies flowing between them the same way that actual money and physical goods are exchanged by people living in different countries in the real world. So to generalize this idea of data continuity, more simply, we want something called interoperability between blockchains. So this basically happens when data can be shared seamlessly between various blockchains automatically, whether directly through the blockchains themselves or through a third-party conversion algorithm. But either way, we want this to be automated with just a simple user action or no action to be taken at all. This network interoperability may allow for the creation of powerful new products and services that leverage on the benefits of multiple blockchain networks simultaneously. But of course, this is the ideal that we want. And this data continuity and interoperability, it doesn't come without challenges. So getting there will require extensive collaboration between organizations behind those blockchains. However, this might not seem so possible at the current stage. So for Meta and Microsoft, who are two of the bigger metaverse contributors, so they are trying to gain market share in the metaverse world and lay the foundations to new metaverse standards. So collaboration between these organizations mean that it will be a harder battle to fight to gain market share, as users can simply jump between the platforms without any penalties. And that is not what they would like to have the users do. What they want is to have the users stick with one metaverse and just stay on there forever. Another challenge comes from the user side in the form of rather expensive equipment. So right now, to access these popular metaverses, those that are immersive and those that are hyped, users would actually need to buy these expensive equipment such as VR headsets, which can be quite a hefty sum. So in the future, we actually hope that as metaverse get more popular, the price of such equipment can become cheaper and hopefully smaller as well, so that we can experience metaverse not only at home, but also when we are outside. So if anyone remembers something called the Google Glass, which was a piece of head technology that was way ahead of its time when it was released, there are actually rumors that Google wishes to restart this project to integrate it with the metaverse, and hopefully it will bring portability to the metaverse itself. And with that, I conclude the workshop, and there's a QR code for the quiz which will grant Grab vouchers, if I'm not wrong, right?
So yes, this will grant you some vouchers for the people participating in Singapore. So please fill up this form and stand a chance to fill up this quiz and stand a chance to actually win some Grab vouchers. So yeah. Is there any other questions in the comments? You can just you can ping us in the comments. We take about give us like 2 or 3 minutes to respond onto it. If if there's nothing else, then in 3 minutes time we will just be off. Yeah. So yeah, I yeah. So actually for NUS IOI participants, the next few workshops will actually be more hands-on. So it'll be more of a technical workshops where you get to participate or you get to code. We do like a live demonstration, a live coding experience on how to build on smart contracts and various for other features on what you can actually build on the blockchain itself. And yeah, that's in general like part of the whole thing. Yeah. And if I don't see any questions from the audience, so yeah, without further ado, I think I will just thanks for all the like attention and the time here. And yeah, thank you C How for presenting on this workshop. And yeah, have a nice day. Bye bye everybody. Bye bye.